All right, guys, so today it's going to be a little bit different day. I've got a job that I've got to do. It's going to be a challenge coin holder that I'm wanting to build. I've seen a lot of these things on the internet and a lot of them on Etsy and places like that. I'm building this one for a pretty popular person here in Alabama. They've got a radio talk show that most everybody here listens to, and I've been in touch with them, and I have been beating myself up trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to make this thing and how I want it to look for these guys, because like I said, it's a pretty big deal for somebody like myself. So I think I've got it figured out. This job is going to take not only the shop tools, the traditional tools, so to speak, but it's also going to require some work done from the CNC as well as the laser. So this is going to be quite a lengthy day today. I'm hoping to be through with it, hopefully, if I can get everything put together. So let's get started. I'm just going to breeze you through some of the processes as we go and explain it to you, and hopefully we'll have a nice finished product here shortly. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I plan to make this thing around 36 inches wide. But because I'm going to be using the CNC to do some of the work and other things, I'm going to actually take and make it 4 foot wide. Then we'll put it on the CNC, and I'm going to use the CNC once everything's put together to try to cut it and do what I want to the middle of it, because it's going to be an operation. So we're going to go for maybe like the 4x2-ish size. So I'm going to get that marked and get this thing chopped up. I'm just going to go down here, and like I said, I'm just rough marking it because we are going to chop it down to size. But with this 8-foot material, I shouldn't have any problem with just having it split at 48, and then we'll make changes as needed. So I'm just going to mark these good enough to where I can get them over to the chop saw and get these cut off at approximately 48 inches. It doesn't have to be exact because, like I said, we are going to resize this stuff as we go. So all right, guys, so use the dado stack as you saw there, and got this guy channeled out. This is going to be where the coins actually sit in this little tray. The object here is, so it's not going to matter how thick they are or how thin or how big. You can just keep stacking them side by side, lean them against the back. Hopefully that's going to work. Got this in there. I did have to go back and shorten them a little bit because of my workspace. 48 wasn't going to cut it, so we did 42, and I'm just going to cut it down a little bit from there from the ends in. So hopefully it's going to work. So let's get the glue and everything together and get that part done. All right, guys, so I got all the boards laid out. This is kind of the way I'm envisioning this thing going together. This is going to be quite the operation when it comes to gluing. I've had to break out some biscuits and my old trusty biscuit joiner that I haven't used in a long time. So I'm going to take these boards where I did the dado. I'm going to make sure I've got that sanded good enough before I put this together, because if I don't, it's going to be hard to get in there with any kind of power tools, and I'm going to be doing it by hand, and I'm not a fan of doing that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit these guys with the sander and get these little tear outs right here from the saw. I'm gonna go ahead and get that off of those before we glue everything together. Everything looks good. It's just gonna take time. So let me get after it. All right, guys, I've got it on the CNC, and if it seems like I used every clamp that I have to try to hold this in place, I did. And the reason being, guys, is because after all the time that I've spent building this thing and making this thing and getting it ready, the last thing I want to do is screw up this part, because there's no coming back from it if I mess this up. So what I'm going to do now is, for this build, I'm wanting to put a logo right here in the center of this coin holder, but I want it to I want it to look like the center's broken out of it and the logo's just kind of busting through there. So that's the look I'm going for. So what I've got to do is I've got to create in VCarve, I've got to create this piece, and then I got to lay out this design that I want in the middle. I've got to make that flat and get that, you know, machined out. I want to take these all the way down to even with the little floorboards, plus just a little to clean this finish off of it. Let's get over here, and I'm gonna get over in VCarve and get this set up and pray that I get it set up right. All right, guys, so I got the file put together in VCarve, and what we're gonna do is I've basically built this frame out in VCarve, and I'm going to start at the very top of this thing and just slowly walk it down until I get finished with the pocket that I need. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to set the 0 on this corner over here as it is in the file, and then once we get that set, all we'll have to do is send it and hope that I did it right. So that's going to be the big part, is to make sure that I did what I needed to with this file and that I got it correct. I'm going to try to just use my little corner block here to make sure I've gotten the 0 appropriately set. It doesn't have to be exact with this, but I'd like for it to be fairly close. So we're going to go ahead. I've got that lined up. We'll go ahead and tell it to probe the corner right there. And I like to kind of hold on to this probe just to make sure it doesn't move. Because the bristles on the brush can move it. This is basically going to tell the machine where the bottom left corner of the material is, as well as the surface of the material, so that it knows how deep to go down. I've got it set to go 20 millimeters deep, which should hopefully get us down below the surface of the main material, just enough to remove the burn that I put on there and give me a really good contrast with the material. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway. My dust collection's probably not going to be that effective on this cut because there's that big gap right there. It's going to sling stuff everywhere. But it's no time like today, guys. Let's see if this works. Hopefully it won't break anything. I slowed it way down. I've got it taken off real small bites because I don't want to have a bunch of breakout right here on these small boards, especially with this poplar. But we'll see. So here we go. Starting the burn, and I am using again the downtown Jenny, which is a 1/4 inch down cut Jenny bit, and hopefully that will also help with sanding and clean up and making sure it doesn't pull it up off the workspace. So here we go. All right, guys, as always, don't forget, I'm going to drop some links down below if you're interested in the Shapeoko or any of the tools that we use in the video. Be sure to check the description and use those links if you want to purchase, and I'll get a little bit of a payback from it. So let's get back to it. All right, guys, so a little touch up here with the torch after I got it CNC because I didn't want those little corners looking too new. And I went ahead and kind of hit them a little extra because I wanted it to kind of almost look like the logo had burned through the board. One little pass with the air here just to get any dust and chips out of the way. And we're going to see how the tolerances is. That piece was cut out and engraved on the Hurricane. And guys, it was a perfect fit. All right, guys, so all in all, I think it turned out pretty well. What I ended up doing, as you saw in the video, is I just more or less created a recess right here to put the logo in the middle of the board, but I didn't want to interrupt the kind of, the overallness of being able to put coins everywhere. So what I've done is just, like I said, I just cut the tracks there. Yes, I could have pieced this thing together and, done all this work when I was assembling it, but with me having the CNC, it's a lot easier for me to just build it, and then once I get it on the CNC, cut the hole out, and I wound up, instead of trying to go with the poplar wood that's in there and risking having lines in the engrave due to the variation of the grain in the material, I decided to go ahead and just do a cutout of the pre-finished stuff that I use. I engraved it and went ahead and put it in that. It's a bit of a recess right there. It's recessed in a couple of millimeters, and just put a little spot of glue to hold it in. But as you can see, this is one of my little challenge coins that I have here in the shack. And you could put probably a couple of hundred on here. And that was kind of the mission, was that he had a lot of coins that he wanted to have somewhere to display. And so now we have it. We just got to clear coat it and let it dry. And I'm still going to have to put the little backers on the back to hang it with, because even though it's not all that thick, it's still kind of heavy. So it's definitely a little a little heavy there. But the back, I didn't do anything to the back. It is all natural because I didn't see a need in wasting propane and time to do the back the way I did with the front. So I hope you liked the project, guys. And I tried not to get into doing too many big deals like this, big projects. But the guy that I did this one for, I have listened to him on the radio for years, since I worked. Like in 1999, I was listening to him and his brother on the radio. But anyway, guys, more project ideas. Stay tuned. I'm going to go get this thing clear coated and let it dry. So until next time, be safe and have a good day.